Super Rugby AU Team of the Week for round number 5. Hard to pick any tars, but I did manage to sneak in one Waratah for this one. But yeah, we'll go through 15 guys. Performed pretty well. Have a look at some of their numbers, some of the key moments of the week. It's a bit late, this video. It's a Wednesday. Usually tried it on Tuesday, but the Aotearoa one's not out yet either. And I'll in future I'll try and do the stats on the screen as well, but I am rather time poor at the moment, so editing is going to have to wait. Anyway, we'll go through the team, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on who you would have had in yours. Props. I've gone with Tom Robertson for 1 from the Force. Kind of expected to get absolutely dominated at scrum time. The Force put in a remarkably good shift, large parts to Tom Robertson up against a pretty big unit in Tani Alatupo. And his stats on paper don't seem that flash. 4 runs, a metre, a pass, 6 from 7 tackles. Nothing that flash. But on his scrummaging, I think you have him in there. And I don't think he conceded a penalty. Tupo conceded like 4, although not all at scrum time. But yeah. The Force at scrum time were rather pleasing. And another man who always pleases, Pone Fa'amusili. That doesn't look like correct spelling. Fa'amusili, maybe it's right. Apologies if it's wrong. Next time I don't know, use the power of video editing to correct that. I mean, he's just about as exciting as a prop gets when you're watching rugby. They love giving him the ball as well, and he loves getting the ball and just barreling at pace. There's no bones about what he is going to do when he gets that ball. He finishes with 7 runs for 51 run meters. Like, Robertson's is a proper front row performance, whereas Fa'amusili thinks he's a centre. Someone said he used to play a different position. 1 clean break, 1 defender beaten, 3 passes, so he doesn't just tuck and run. He even has an offload, 7 from 9 tackles, only concedes 1 penalty. The Waratahs scrum was actually relatively strong, so he wasn't kind of able to get on top of that, but you kind of got 1 scrummaging performance and 1 round the park performance from your props. This week, hooker, I've gone with the Force guy, Tu'u as well. Good shift. Again, he's part of that front row, which stacks up pretty well against that Reds front row. He finishes with a try, which was at maul time, so good for them to bust forward. 21 metres from 6 runs is a good return from a hooker. Beats a defender, has 3 passes, 8 from 9 tackles. He does have 3 turnovers conceded, which is the black mark, and a penalty conceded, but the line-out was operating at like 92%. So overall, his play was able to kind of keep the Force in that game for as long as they were in that game. Good shift. Seems to be a lot of good hookers. Like, there was a while when Stephen Moore retired where I was just like, oh my goodness, these guys have got nobody. And then now there seems to be loads of guys in Australia who can do the job in number 2. Locks, I've gone with Angus Blythe from the Reds. Put in a proper shift in his core role, which is something you like to see. 2 runs, 2 metres, nothing really doing there. But does manage to beat a defender in the process of running 2 metres. 6 passes, so involvement's relatively high for a second rower. 12 from 12 tackles and 4 line-out wins. This is what I mean about his core role. He's a lock. He jumps and he tackles. Probably does a few clean-outs as well, but that's not a stat that they measure. Another guy I've gone with is Trevor Jose from the Rebels, and I really like the look of this guy. He's been good for a couple of years now, but he's really showing some class, and in contrast to Blythe, that ability to get around the park maybe a bit more nimbly. 3 runs for 23 metres is an amazing return, has a clean break and a defender beaten. 4 passes, so fewer kind of involvements with the passing, but much better ball in hand work in terms of his own carries. 12 from 12 tackles as well, and 4 line-out wins as well. So equally both kind of hard-working, different style games, but equally both very effective players. Lucy's, I swear I don't do this to be biased, but I've gone with a blindside of Fergus Lee Warner. I think I pick him every week. I swear I'm not just trying to find reasons to pick him. Scott Young was pretty good, but I don't think quite has, certainly has more tackles, but he doesn't quite have the all-round game that Lee Warner has. He has 8 runs for 21 metres, which is good number of metres, like not phenomenal, but good. And a good number of carries means he's one of their kind of guys they like to give the ball to because they know he's an effective ball carrier. 3 passes that he prefers to tuck it and run. Beats a defender, has 7 from 8 tackles. Does have 1 turnover, unfortunate, because that was where he kind of was going for a try and lost the ball forward, but they went back for a penalty anyway. He does concede 1 penalty, but he has 4 line-out wins and 1 line-out steal as well. So maybe that's one of the benefits of playing him in the loose, because he's kind of that lock loose forward, so he can do both jobs equally well. Adds a bit of value. If he's playing lock, he adds the value of being able to carry like a loosey, and if he's playing loosey, he adds the ability. I mean, there's plenty of loosies who can jump, but he has the ability as well. Another guy I've gone with is Frazer Mcrae from the Reds. Got through a huge shift. 5 runs for 25 metres from him is solid as well. Has 2 clean breaks and a defender beaten. 7 passes, so huge number of involvements in the game. And then you put on top of that the fact that he makes 18 from 18 tackles. I think Scott Young was 18 from 20, so also pretty good. But man, Mcrae was everywhere. 2 turnovers conceded and a penalty conceded. Black marks. But man, like if Brad Thorne likes guys with high work rate, he gets it in spades from Frazer Mcrae. And the last one I did manage to fit in my tar here. It is Dempsey. Jack Dempsey from the Waratahs. In an effort which was hard to find anybody that was really any good apart from the last 5 minutes. He finishes with 10 runs, which is a lot of work, and he gets 38 run meters, which is, good meterage, beats 4 defenders. So in his core role as a number 8, he's doing a pretty good job. He has 10 passes and an offload, so he is really a pivotal part of the team. He's a bit of a pest as well. He annoyed Marika Korobidi at one moment of the game, so playing that role pretty well, but doesn't concede any penalties. Has 4 from 4 tackles. Ideally, you want that work rate to be higher, but clearly his job is more carrying. He leaves it to like Tizano, who barely carries, to do all the tackling, and also has 1 line-out win as well. Obviously, higher tackle count will be nice, but manages to keep the penalty count to 0 whilst getting on the nerves of the Rebels guys. Right, into the backs. Scrum half. I've gone with Tate Mcdermott. Might be the first time I've put him in this season. He was all over the place last season in terms of always getting on my board. He has a good shift, has a try, well taken move, and 2 try assists. He was a key man in the involvement, the build up to the Reds tries. 8 runs for 21 metres is kind of McDermott doing what McDermott does, right? Like the value he adds when he plays is that he's a proper dangerous running halfback. Like you never know when he's going to run it, and he keeps defenders really guessing. And sometimes, like his try, I think people think he's going to pass to Vunivalu, but then he goes himself, and he's really good at identifying that kind of opportunity. He has 5 defenders beaten, 57 passes, and an offload. 5 defenders beaten. Someone's doing construction down the road. It's great for a halfback, man. Really, really good. Fly half, I went with Matt Tamua from the Rebels. Ran the show pretty well. He managed to get a try, which was an absolute cracking bit of individual brilliance. Chips over the top, regathers. Something you've not really associated with Matt Tamua in recent times, but man, he looked pretty slick. Kicks 2 conversions and 3 penalties, and his work with the boot is something we've seen him do a lot this season. He's been really on form. 8 runs, 31 metres, so more than we're used to seeing. A clean break, a defender beaten, 16 passes and 3 from 4 tackles. So overall, ran the show pretty well. Midfield, I've gone with Hunter Paisami. Other way around, Mark. Paisami from the Reds, and he was everywhere. I feel like his numbers don't do him justice, even though he scores 2 tries. He has 6 runs for 38 metres, beats 3 defenders, has 2 clean breaks, has 11 passes, 4 from 6 tackles, 2 turnovers conceded. He was just everywhere, man. Everywhere you looked up, he was making harrying runs, running support lines, putting in big hits. He was just, his numbers definitely don't do him justice. Definitely is liking the shift to 12 instead of playing 13 with Pattaya coming into the mid to accommodate Vunivalu, really, who was pushed Pattaya out of the wing. So, I reckon it works Works really well for the Reds. And I've gone with Stacey Ely as well as my last guy in the midfield. He gets 6 runs for 57 metres, which is a solid return. A clean break, a defender beaten, 4 passes, 3 offloads, 7 from 10 tackles. There's a few missed and a turnover conceded, but overall, for a guy who we haven't seen that much of, he's playing pretty well. So yeah, outside backs, I've gone with 2 right wingers actually. I went with Vunivalu and I went with Anderson. So 1 Red, 1 Rebel. Both played right wing, but I've picked Vunivalu as a left winger if you like. Like I said, he didn't score a try, but he draws people in. Like he was just by his presence was there for the McDermott try. He gets a try assist. He beats 5 tackles, so he was also very difficult to bring down when he was running. 7 runs, 52 metres, has 2 clean breaks, 2 passes, an offload. 9 from 10 tackles is one thing that'll probably get a bit overlooked, but he did have good defensive numbers. He does have turnover conceded, and he does have 2 penalties conceded, so not all rosy. But he looks the business. Quite an athlete. And Anderson, I could have gone with Korobedi to be honest, but I've gone with Anderson because he's the one who scored the try. 5 runs, 45 metres, 2 clean breaks, a defender beaten, 2 passes, an offload, 2 from 2 tackles, and a turnover conceded. I probably should have gone with Korobedi, but I went with Anderson, like I said, because he finished things off. Last guy, I've gone from the Reds, Jock Campbell. His try is a bit of a walkover one. It's set up by the likes of McDermott and Vunivalu in the build-up, but he gets a walkover try. 6 runs, 43 metres is a nice return. 3 clean breaks is very dangerous, and 5 passes and an offload. Doesn't have to make a tackle, but yeah, overall pretty good effort from him and his Reds. So yeah, team of the week for the Aussies. Good, plenty of key performers and some good rugby on display. The Reds and Force game especially very tight. A bit of concern about the Tars, but yeah, everywhere else things are looking pretty rosy. We will see how things go. You guys let me know your thoughts. Who would you have in? Who would you have out based on this lot? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.